What if the things you once considered trash could bloom again with beauty? Here in Crafted Nest, we believe every broken piece, every forgotten bottle, and every worn tire hides a second chance. Today, we'll walk together through a garden of wonder where penguins march from bottles, butterflies take flight from scraps, and even an old chair can carry herbs full of life. Each creation tells not only the story of your garden, but also of your imagination, proof that joy can be built from what others throw away. So take a breath, relax, and let inspiration guide you. If these ideas warm your heart and spark your creativity, join our journey. Subscribe to Crafted Nest and be part of a community that sees magic where others see waste. Because together, we can craft beauty, one small idea at a time. There is a simple magic in watching something ordinary turn extraordinary with just a touch of imagination. Take the humble plastic bottle, once destined for the trash, and picture it becoming a charming penguin, standing tall in your garden. The first step is as easy as cleaning the bottle and painting it in the classic black and white coat. Add an old spoon for a beak, a pair of buttons for eyes, and suddenly, you have a little guardian of joy waiting by your flower beds. As the sun rises and spills golden light over the soil, these penguins seem to come alive. Their glossy paint glimmers and their crooked, mismatched eyes tell stories of playful imperfection. Some wear scarves cut from old fabric, others balance small hats made from soda caps. None of them look the same, and that is what makes them special. They invite laughter, curiosity, and even conversation among neighbors who stop by and smile at your creative touch. Children especially love them. They see not just bottles but characters, tiny friends who belong to a winter tale set right in the warmth of summer. Place them near white gravel, succulents, or along a border fence, and suddenly, your backyard transforms into a miniature Arctic scene. It's not just about decoration. It's about reminding ourselves that waste can be wonder, and that joy can be built from scraps. Try making one penguin this weekend. You don't need expensive tools, just paint, glue, and imagination. As you line them up in your garden, you'll find that each penguin carries not only recycled plastic, but also a piece of your own story, reshaped into something unforgettable. There is something enchanting about a garden that doesn't take itself too seriously. Imagine walking down a quiet path and being greeted by a caterpillar, not the kind that nibbles at your leaves, but one crafted from tires that once lay forgotten in a corner. Each tire becomes a body segment, splashed with paint in bold reds, cheerful yellows, calming greens, and playful blues. Together, they form a creature that winds across the garden edge like a storybook character stepping into real life. Its face is perhaps the most delightful part. With bottle caps for eyes that sparkle in the sunlight and wire antennas stretching upward, it seems to listen to the whispers of the wind. A wide painted smile greets anyone who passes by, as if to say, "Welcome to a world where trash becomes treasure." Children adore this design. They see not just a sculpture, but a friend, a companion in the backyard adventures of their imagination. And for adults, it becomes a reminder of the joy that lies in creativity, proof that a simple tire can transform into something that sparks laughter and wonder. You don't need special tools to build your own tire caterpillar. Just a few brushes, leftover paint, and the willingness to play. Place it among flowers, near a fence, or along a path, and let it bring color and humor to your space. Each time you walk past, the bright segments will catch your eye, and you might even feel as though the caterpillar has inched just a little further down the garden. This project is more than decoration. It's a celebration of color, of reuse, of imagination. And with every smile it inspires, it proves that even the simplest scrap can bring life to a garden. There is a kind of joy that sings from the simplest of things, and in this corner of the garden, it takes the shape of a parrot. Its feathers are not plucked from a tropical rainforest, but cut and painted from old spoons that once sat unused in kitchen drawers. Each spoon, now reborn in vivid shades of red, yellow, and blue, fans outward like a burst of laughter frozen in time. The body is built from a discarded plastic bottle, Paint it carefully to match the brilliance of nature. A broken garden scoop, polished by sunlight, becomes its beak, strong and proud. And the eyes, two mismatched buttons, give it a gaze that feels almost alive, as if it might blink at any moment. Placed on a bamboo fence softened by climbing mint and rosemary, this parrot feels like a guardian of the garden. It doesn't just decorate the space, it tells a story. A story of how creativity transforms what we throw away into something extraordinary. And each time the wind passes, the spoon feathers catch the light, shimmering like wings ready to take flight. This project is as practical as it is playful. All you need are spoons, paint, glue, and a little patience. The result is not a perfect sculpture, but a joyful one, something that makes children laugh and neighbors pause to admire. Imagine a pair of parrots, one perched proudly while another leans forward curiously, creating a little stage of tropical wonder right in your backyard. It reminds us that beauty doesn't always come from expensive tools or materials. Sometimes, it's hiding in the spoons you nearly tossed away, waiting for your imagination to give them wings. In the hush of an ordinary afternoon, when the air moves softly through the garden, something delightful begins to turn. Not a store-bought decoration, but a flamingo wind spinner born from the quiet genius of reuse. Its wings, once the blades of an old fan, now catch the breeze with a playful rhythm. Painted in shades of pink that dance in the sunlight, they twirl gently above beds of rosemary and petunias, scattering flickers of shadow across the ground like whispers of laughter. The body, shaped from plastic bottles, stands on one leg in classic flamingo grace. A bent wire or an old hanger forms its stance, strong yet light. The beak, cut from another scrap of plastic, tilts forward as though the bird is mid-strut, listening to the hum of the wind. This project doesn't need perfection. The paint may drip, the wings may spin unevenly, but that is the charm. It feels alive. And as the spinner turns, it draws smiles from those who pass by, a gentle reminder that creativity and play belong in the heart of every garden. Building your own flamingo spinner is simpler than it looks. With just an old fan guard, a plastic bottle, wire, and a bit of paint, you can give flight to something once forgotten. Place it near a bench, by climbing ivy, or above white gravel, and let the breeze tell the rest of the story. In the end, this flamingo is more than decor. It is movement, color, and joy stitched together from scraps. A celebration of the breeze itself, and proof that even junk can dance if we are willing to see it differently. There is something deeply comforting about a bench, a place where the garden welcomes you to pause, rest, and simply be. But when that bench comes in the playful form of a raccoon, it becomes more than just a seat. It becomes a story. Crafted from oil drums once rusting in a corner, smoothed and painted into the familiar black, white, and gray of a raccoon, this trash panda bench greets you with gentle eyes made from bottle caps and a striped tail curling from painted pipe. Its belly, formed from reclaimed wood planks, is wide and sturdy, ready to hold the weight of tired legs or a morning cup of tea. The arms, bent from old plumbing pipes, curl forward with an almost comical kindness, as if the raccoon is offering a hug. Behind it, herbs bloom in simple pots, their fragrance mingling with the bright colors of marigolds, creating a space that feels alive and cared for. This is not furniture that hides its origin. It wears its past proudly, each drum and pipe carrying the memory of what it once was, now repurposed into something both useful and delightful. Children giggle when they see it. Adults linger a little longer on its backrest, sipping tea or watching the evening light spill across the garden. You don't need expensive materials to build something like this. Start with a plank, a drum, or even a broken broom handle. Shape them not with perfection, but with humor and heart. Place the bench beneath a pergola or along a garden path, and let it tell its quiet story of transformation. In every curve of its tail and every painted stripe, the raccoon bench whispers the truth. A garden seat can also be a smile. Sometimes, the most enchanting details in a garden are not the flowers themselves, but the companions we create to sit among them. Imagine a row of owls, each one crafted from a simple soda bottle, hanging gently under the slats of a pergola. Their eyes, made from layered bottle caps, are wide with curiosity. Their beaks, cut from old spoons, gleam softly in the afternoon sun. And their painted bodies, in earthy browns or bright cheerful hues, hold not just soil, but the promise of herbs and flowers waiting to grow. These all planters are more than decoration. They are tiny storytellers. Some cradle thyme or oregano, their leafy crowns spilling like feathers. Others glow softly at dusk when fairy lights tucked inside their bellies flicker to life, mimicking the hush of fireflies on a summer evening. Each one is unique, carrying the marks of hand-painted strokes and mismatched materials, yet together they form a family, watchful, playful, and quietly magical. To create your own, you don't need much. An empty bottle, some caps, scraps of plastic, and a dash of paint. Cut and shape with care, then let your imagination guide the rest. Suspend them under your porch roof, line them along a garden fence, or cluster them in a sunny corner where vines can drape around their wings. What they bring to a garden is more than greenery. They bring character, the kind that makes children pause to point and neighbors smile in admiration. In their stillness, they remind us that recycling is not only practical, it can also be beautiful. And when the wind moves gently and their lights glow at dusk, you'll feel as though your garden has welcomed new guardians, carved not from stone, but from second chances. There is a quiet magic that happens when water finds a home in a garden. Not in an expensive ceramic fountain or a grand stone pond, but in something as simple as an old tire given a second life. Imagine a circle of rubber once worn down by the road, now lined with plastic, filled with clear water, and transformed into a tiny pond that mirrors the sky. Floating on its surface are lilies, their petals carefully cut and shaped from plastic jugs, painted with gentle strokes of white, pink, or yellow. They drift softly, catching the sunlight and throwing back reflections of clouds and leaves. Some cradle real floating greens, while others rest as playful imitations, their charm undeniable. On the edge of the pond, you might add small companions, frogs sculpted from soda bottles, their round green bodies smiling at the herbs growing nearby. Even if the paint runs unevenly or the shapes are imperfect, it doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling it creates, a sense of life, of imagination, of water being honored instead of wasted. To build your own, you need only a tire, some lining, stones, and scraps of plastic ready to be reborn. Place it in a quiet corner of your yard, where basil or rosemary can grow around its edges. As the day passes, the water reflects not just the sky above, but also the effort you put into making something beautiful from nothing. This pond does not demand perfection. It invites peace. It invites curiosity. And each time you pause by its side, watching the lilies drift lazily on the surface, you'll feel that even the most ordinary trash can hold the stillness of a hidden world. In the gentle hum of a summer garden, bees are often the quiet heroes, carrying life from one blossom to another. But here, in a space where creativity meets kindness, bees made from old plastic bottles take on that role, not buzzing in the air, but standing as cheerful guardians of herbs and flowers. Each bee begins as a forgotten bottle, painted in bright yellow with bold black stripes curling around its body. The wings, cut from clear plastic packaging, shimmer when sunlight passes through them, giving the illusion of delicate flight. Add a pair of button eyes and a twist of wire for antennae, and suddenly a bottle becomes a character. Playful, watchful, and full of charm. Placed above a patch of parsley, thyme, or blooming chives, these bees seem almost alive, leaning gently with the breeze. Children smile when they see them. Neighbors pause to admire the ingenuity, and you yourself feel the warmth of creating something whimsical from waste. The best part is that they don't just decorate. They remind us of the real bees whose work we depend on, and they invite us to care more deeply for the green spaces we nurture. Creating your own bottle bee is simple. Start with a single bottle. Paint it with joy, cut out wings from scraps, and set it on a wire. Soon, one bee becomes a family, and your garden feels like a stage where both real and imagined life mingle together. It's not perfection you're chasing, it's play. And in that play, the garden takes on a new rhythm. With each bee you add, your space grows brighter, lighter, and a little more alive, proof that even trash can find wings again. There is a gentle happiness in stumbling upon ladybugs in a garden. Tiny, red, and cheerful, they feel like little tokens of good fortune. Now imagine creating your own, dozens of them, using nothing more than discarded bottle caps. With a splash of paint, each cap transforms into a shiny ladybug, its black spots dotted unevenly but full of charm. Laid along a garden path or nestled between stones, these bottle cap ladybugs look as if they are marching together in a playful parade. Some tilt sideways as though caught mid-step, while others seem to rest lazily among tufts of pansies and thyme. From a distance, they add a rhythm of color that makes the garden feel alive. Up close, their glossy surfaces reflect the sunlight, drawing smiles from children who point and giggle at their tiny faces. Crafting them is wonderfully simple. Paint the caps red, dab on black spots, and glue on small eyes. Button eyes or dots of white paint will do. If you want to add more personality, use bent spoons as tiny smiles or wire pieces for little legs. Scatter them in unexpected corners of your yard, and every walk becomes a discovery. This project doesn't require perfection. In fact, the quirks, the uneven spots, the mismatched eyes, are what give each ladybug its character. Place a group near your herbs, another by your flower beds, and watch as the garden takes on a new sense of playfulness. Ladybugs, whether real or handmade, remind us of resilience and joy. And when made from bottle caps that once would have been tossed aside, they also remind us that beauty often hides in the smallest scraps. Sometimes, happiness is as simple as turning waste into a smile. There is something irresistibly charming about ducks. Their cheerful waddle, their bright feathers, their playful presence near water. Now picture a flock of them, not real, but lovingly made from bottles once tossed aside. Each plastic bottle, painted in golden yellow with a touch of orange, takes on a new life as a garden duck, ready to bring joy to anyone who passes by. The bodies are round and simple, a coat of paint giving them their sunny glow. Flexible pipes serve as necks, curving upward as if the ducks are craning to see what's new in the garden. Their eyes, made from buttons or caps, twinkle in the daylight, while their feet, crafted from plastic caps or cut pieces of scrap, anchor them firmly in the soil. Lined up along a flower bed or scattered among vegetables, they seem to march in a cheerful parade, as if your backyard were their favorite pond. Children are especially drawn to them, laughing as they point out each duck's unique personality, one tilting its head, another standing tall, another painted with a slightly crooked smile. To make your own, gather soda bottles, a bit of wire or pipe, paint, and a sprinkle of imagination. Start small, one duck, then another, and soon you'll have a little flock. Place them where sunlight can catch their colors, and watch as they brighten the space with their simple presence. These ducks are not about perfection. They are about play, about letting your garden become a place of stories and laughter. And when you see them glowing in the sunlight, you'll be reminded that even the simplest scraps can bring a sense of wonder, waddling quietly into the heart of your home. There's a certain thrill in seeing flashes of tropical color against a backdrop of green. Parrots, with their bold feathers and playful expressions, capture that spirit perfectly. And in this garden, they are not perched by chance but by choice, crafted lovingly from bottles that once had no purpose beyond being thrown away. Each parrot begins as a simple plastic bottle, its shape reshaped with paint and imagination. Feathers are layered from cut bottle pieces, each one brushed in radiant reds, deep blues, bright yellows, and fresh greens. Together, they shimmer in the sunlight like living jewels. A spoon becomes a curved beak, strong and proud. Bottle caps turn into oversized eyes, playful and curious, as though the birds are ready to squawk or laugh at any moment. Placed on a wooden fence or a bamboo trellis, they transform an ordinary garden corner into a stage bursting with tropical energy. Surrounded by hibiscus blooms, palm leaves, or even simple rosemary, They look as if they've flown straight from the rainforest to your backyard. Making one of these parrots is as rewarding as it is fun. Start with a bottle, gather some paint, and let your brush wander. You don't have to follow nature's exact palette. Your parrot can be as imaginative as you like, an echo of your creativity more than a copy of the wild. What matters is the joy they bring. Neighbors smile, children point with wide eyes, and you, the maker, get to feel the quiet pride of transforming waste into wonder. Each parrot is a reminder that beauty does not need to be bought. Sometimes it's waiting in the most unlikely of places, asking only for your imagination to set it free. Sometimes the garden feels like a stage where nature performs quietly, and every detail, no matter how small, adds to the show. Imagine a wall where geckos climb. Not living ones, but artful creations made from the broken glass bottles you might have thrown away. Their bodies glisten under the sun, scales formed from translucent shards in hues of green, blue, and amber. Each fragment reflects the light differently, so the geckos seem to shimmer as though alive. One curls its tail toward the herbs below, catching the golden light of late afternoon. Another stretches long across the fence, blending its glittering body with the vines that climb behind it. At night, if you've strung fairy lights along the wall, their glass scales glow softly, turning into glowing guardians of your backyard. They don't move, but in their stillness, they make the garden feel vibrant, playful, and unexpectedly magical. To create one, you don't need a perfect design. Gather broken bottles, carefully trim the edges, and arrange them piece by piece onto a base shape. A bit of glue, patience, and imagination is enough to bring your gecko to life. And what was once waste becomes a colorful friend, resting forever on your garden walls. This kind of project doesn't just beautify, it tells a story. It shows visitors how creativity can transform the simplest scraps into art. Children are fascinated, tracing the gecko's outlines with their eyes. Neighbors pause, admiring how broken pieces have found a new harmony together. In every shard and curve, the glass bottle geckos remind us, even what is shattered can shine again. The garden becomes not just a place for plants, but a canvas for second chances. There is something timeless about butterflies. They bring lightness to a garden, fluttering between flowers like whispers of color. Now imagine them not as fleeting visitors, but as companions, created by your own hands from bottles that once held only emptiness. Each wing, cut and painted with care, spreads wide on your garden fence, turning plain wood into a canvas of vibrant life. The magic lies in their simplicity. A single soda bottle, trimmed into 4 wings, painted with bright strokes of orange, yellow, or deep blue. Sunlight streams through the plastic, giving the wings a glow that feels almost real. Some butterflies perch delicately on the slats of a fence, others cling to a trellis where roses climb upward, and together they create a mural of color that shifts with every hour of the day. In the morning, the butterflies catch the first golden light, their translucent wings shimmering softly. By afternoon, they glow vividly against the green backdrop of climbing vines. And in the evening, they become silhouettes that linger in the quiet twilight, reminding you of the hands that made them. Crafting them is as joyful as seeing them fly. With just a bottle, scissors, paint, and imagination, you can create a single butterfly, or dozens, that transform your garden into something playful and poetic. Children love to paint the wings, each one inventing new colors and patterns. Neighbors smile at the surprise of a fence that no longer feels like a boundary, but like a celebration. In every butterfly, there's a message. Beauty is not only found in what nature gives us, but also in how we choose to honor what we already have. And in your garden, these bottle butterflies will always remind you to let color and creativity take flight. Every garden has its characters, and sometimes they are not found among the plants, but built from the scraps that once seemed forgotten. In this space, a goat and a rooster stand side by side, not living, yet full of life. They are shaped from pipes, bolts, spoons, and bits of hose, each piece carrying the memory of its old purpose, now reborn as part of something playful and new. The goat leans upward, its long neck stretching like a question mark against the open sky. Its horns, twisted from bent metal, curve proudly as if ready to butt into the day. Beside it, the rooster is caught in mid-crow, its beak wide open, wings suggested by strips of recycled wire, and its bottle-cap eyes sparkling in the morning light. Together they transform the garden into a stage, where humor and imagination take center place. Behind them, herbs bloom in pots, rosemary, thyme, and sage filling the air with fragrance. A small chalkboard planted in the soil reads, "Welcome to the junkyard coop." Turning the corner into more than decoration, it becomes a story told with laughter. Children are drawn to it instantly, pointing at the rooster's odd beak or the goat's lopsided legs. Adults, too, find themselves smiling, reminded that creativity doesn't have to be polished to be joyful. Building sculptures like these doesn't demand perfect welding or precision. It only asks for an eye that sees possibility in scraps and a willingness to play. With each piece you attach, the sculpture gains more personality until suddenly the garden feels fuller, warmer, and alive with characters that seem ready to greet you every morning. They stand there proudly, whispering a simple truth: beauty is not only grown, it can also be built. Winter may never truly touch every garden, but with a little imagination, you can invite its charm to stay all year long. Picture a snowman, not of ice or frost, but of jugs that once held water or milk. Stacked neatly, painted white, and decorated with scraps, this snowman stands proudly in the corner of a backyard, reminding everyone who sees it that joy can be made from the simplest things. The body is formed by 3 old containers, one on top of the other. The eyes are bottle caps painted black, the nose a piece of plastic trimmed and colored into a playful orange carrot shape. An old scarf, once forgotten in a drawer, is tied gently around its neck, fluttering in the afternoon breeze. Sticks or spare pipes extend as arms, reaching out as if to welcome anyone who passes by. Placed near succulents and white gravel, the snowman looks almost magical, a friendly guardian in the warmth of summer. Children laugh as they point at its painted smile, and neighbors often pause, surprised to find a snowman shining brightly under the sun. It feels whimsical and unexpected, like a storybook character who decided to stay. Making your own is simple. Gather a few sturdy jugs, paint them, and decorate with whatever scraps you have: caps, sticks, fabric, or even old buttons. The result doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, its charm lies in the uneven lines, the quirky details, the personality that emerges with each recycled piece. In the end, this snowman is more than decoration. It's a reminder that joy doesn't need cold weather or costly materials. It can be built right here, with your hands, your imagination, and the willingness to see possibility in plastic that others might throw away. There is a quiet joy in discovering small companions hidden among the flowers. Not the kind that scurry away when you approach, but ones that stay, smiling softly as part of the garden story. Hedgehogs made from scraps, bottle bodies, broom bristle spines, and button noses are those companions. Playful yet tender, they peek out from under marigolds, thyme, or lavender, like guardians of a secret world. Each hedgehog begins with a simple shape, often a half-cut plastic bottle painted in soft browns or grays. From the back, broom bristles or wire scraps are glued to form spines, giving them texture and character. The face is simple: 2 tiny painted eyes, a bottle cap nose, and sometimes even a crown of daisies or herbs to make them feel part of the landscape. Placed at the edge of flower beds, they create a scene that feels alive, as though a family of hedgehogs has chosen your garden as their home. Children love to find them, lifting leaves to discover one hiding in the shade. Neighbors smile at their charm, realizing how little it takes to add warmth to a space. The beauty of these hedgehogs lies in their imperfections. Each one looks slightly different, some round, some tall, some with crooked spines, and that uniqueness makes them even more endearing. Making them is simple. Gather scraps, glue, and paint, then let your imagination play. Over time, they become more than decorations. They are gentle reminders of the joy found in small details and the power of seeing possibility in waste. In a world that often chases big statements, these hedgehogs whisper softly that even the tiniest touches can turn a garden into a place of wonder and companionship. There's something beautiful about giving old furniture a new voice. A chair that once sat forgotten in a corner, its legs wobbly and its seat worn, can become a living canvas when transformed into a vertical herb planter. Suddenly, what was once just a place to sit becomes a thriving space for life to grow. The seat, hollowed out or replaced with a simple wooden box, now holds soil and roots. Basil leans outward, mint spills over the edges, and rosemary stretches tall toward the sun. The backrest becomes a trellis, a frame where vines can climb, or hooks can hold smaller pots filled with thyme, parsley, or oregano. Each herb adds not just greenery but fragrance, filling the air with the scent of a kitchen garden tucked neatly into an unexpected form. Painting the chair in bright pastel colors adds another layer of charm. A coat of turquoise, a splash of yellow, or even simple whitewash turns the planter into a cheerful accent that stands proudly among flowers. Place it against a fence, under a pergola, or in a sunny corner, and it becomes both useful and whimsical. Creating one is surprisingly simple. All you need is a sturdy old chair, a few basic tools, and the curiosity to see it differently. The imperfections, the chipped paint, the uneven edges, only make it more personal, a true piece of your story written into the garden. This planter is more than decoration. It is practical, feeding your kitchen with fresh herbs, and poetic, reminding you that nothing is ever too worn to bloom again. In every leaf that sprouts from its frame, the chair whispers quietly, life can grow anywhere, even from what others have left behind. There's a gentle kind of magic in turning something broken into something enchanting. A terracotta pot, once whole but now cracked, doesn't have to be discarded. Instead, its fractures become pathways, its missing pieces an invitation for creativity. With a little imagination, the broken pot transforms into a fairy garden, a tiny world that seems to hold secrets in every curve. Inside the largest piece, soil cradles miniature plants, succulents, moss, or small herbs. Along the jagged edges, you can stack the shards like steps, creating a stairway that leads upward through layers of greenery. Tiny pebbles become pathways, leading to small figurines or houses nestled in the folds of earth. Flowers spill gently over the rim, adding color and life that softens the rough edges of clay. In the sunlight, the garden glows like a storybook scene, inviting children and adults alike to pause and look closer. It feels alive, though the characters within it are still. Neighbors may smile when they see it, drawn to the charm of something so small yet so full of wonder. Making your own fairy garden requires no special tools. Gather a broken pot, soil, a handful of pebbles, and scraps of plants. Arrange them patiently, letting the pot's natural cracks guide your design. There's no wrong way to build it. Every broken line offers a new possibility. And as the seasons pass, the fairy garden grows and changes. Moss spreads, herbs thicken, flowers bloom, and the story continues to unfold. What began as something broken becomes a symbol of renewal, reminding us that beauty doesn't always lie in perfection. Sometimes, it waits quietly in the cracks, ready to bloom into magic if only we choose to see it.